Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, I am so excited we got this to work because literally it was getting stuck on the Start Live video screen since 1:57. So, yay, I'm super, super excited. Hold on one second. Yes, I did it. Okay. So, my name is Jess. I'm going to give a second just to have anybody hop on who is available. I know it's like dinner time and stuff on the East Coast, but I'm just going to give a minute just because I was supposed to start at 2 and that didn't happen. So yay, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me in this group. And I'm so happy I was able to jump on. So I have a couple things to share with you today. I'm going to talk about shadow work and shadow energies, which may be new to you if you've only been exploring one side of spirituality. Oh, thank you so much. This is my room. I have a studio apartment, so I try to make it as comfy, cozy, gypsy-like as possible. So, yeah, if you're not in the full spectrum of going through spirituality, shadow work may be something very, very new to you. So today we're going to talk about shadow work and shadow energies, what they are, how they come about, and touch a little bit about how society now is really going to be amplifying those energies within the individual. And then at the very end, I'm going to quickly share 9 really good habits to soothe the shadow every night and to bring those energies into balance for you. So again, thank you for having me. I'm so excited we actually got this video to working. I was so bummed. I was like, oh my God, I'm so ready to share this, and I hope it goes through. So what are shadow energies and how do they come about? So the shadow is every moment, it is developed by every single moment in your life that you've ever felt less than, okay? Whether that be from, a time you went out and did something and people put you down or laughed at you for it. You made a mistake that you feel really guilty about. You've had self-doubt or insecurities. All of those things, or even also to let me add traumas. Now, traumas don't have to be really, really intense things like the label would have them be, like losing someone or domestic violence or rape, sexual abuse, things like that. Traumas are something different to everyone, okay? And the biggest part about shadow work and shadow energies is we have to realize everybody's experience is going to be different on an individual level based on where they've came from and the circumstances that have occurred in their lives, okay? So when we speak about the shadow, we're speaking about this filter that builds because of energies of anything that's less than. Call it the darkness, quote unquote. Perfect, yes. And we're going to post a graphic about those shadow habits we can do to soothe them every night too after this video is done as well. So the shadow develops when we have all these moments that occur in our lives that we feel less than, that we push down within ourselves. And we're all going through trauma right now. Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things. And that's why this shadow talk is so important, because we're not just seeing these shadow energies on an individual level right now. We're seeing them on a collective level, okay? All these things as a society that we have built up and pushed away and ignored are now coming to the forefront of our day-to-day lives. And really seeing those play out in society brings up those moments within ourselves, okay? So I'll give you a little example. When I was of how shadow energies develop. When I was in second grade, okay, I was called upon by a teacher, to read a line. You know how, they jump around when you're doing books and stuff like that, and everybody reads a paragraph, reads a line, something like that. So I'm sitting there as a little second grade Jess, and I get called upon to read this passage, and I fumble my words, okay, because public speaking at that time in my life was something I didn't feel comfortable with because of my own past traumas, with my father and stuff like that. But they don't just have to come from family, these shadow energies, and this is why this example is so important. So I'm sitting there, and I stumble over my words because I'm already nervous to put them out there. And the girl sitting next to me goes, "Are you so dumb you can't even read?" Boom, okay? That was a moment for me. That was a huge, huge, huge experience in my life that shaped my whole entire existence after that. Even now, when I have this little sheet that I'm kind of like glancing at, I feel like I'm stumbling upon things because I get nervous because of that one moment when I was in second grade, that person made me feel less than. It didn't matter that on my own, I was reading at almost a 5th, 6th grade level in second grade. That didn't matter, okay? The fact that I went out and I tried to be my best and put my first foot forward, and then was shot down by this girl, completely wiped out my inability to be able to do things like that in the future. So every time down the line in the future, I had this moment when I got called upon to read or had to get up in front of the class and things like that. That moment flashed into my mind from second grade, okay? That was like, you're so dumb, you can't even speak aloud, you can't even read. And that had nothing to do with my actual intelligence or who I actually was as a person. But that filter from experience that kid gave me, carried out completely, okay? That's still something I'm dealing with now, because isn't it so relatable? And it's like one of those things that we don't even recognize the shadow playing out in our day-to-day lives until we can step back and learn what the shadow is. So think about those times in your life when you had those experiences that may not have seemed like a big deal overall, but they're still playing out in your day-to-day life. So when we hold those shadow energies in, all those moments that we push away because we don't want to deal with them, we're embarrassed by them, we feel doubt, we feel insecurity. When we push those emotions away and we don't develop an understanding of them and a realization of what they're actually saying, they can develop into things that carry on with us throughout the rest of our lives. Not even just in, mental circumstances or confident circumstances, but even in physical pain and physical illnesses, okay? When you have stagnation in energy that you're not dealing with, it will settle in already weak parts of the body, whether that be physical or energetic parts of the body. It will settle there and it will create this buildup within yourselves. And because you haven't dissected those moments or understood them, they continue to play out in your blueprint. They become a part of you. And one of the things I always say to clients, always say in my group is, you can't think you can understand the universe until you understand yourself in all aspects that make up you. Because even though you've pushed those energies aside, it doesn't mean they're gone. They are still imprinted in yourself. So now I've gotten to the point with that example where every time I go to do something, I'm like, you know what? Like reading and stuff like that, I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. I might be nervous, but that girl at that time, her comment had nothing to do with my actual intelligence or experience. It was just a moment that she filtered that got put inside me. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is when we're not aligned or really knowledgeable about shadow energies, we don't know the power they actually hold in our day-to-day lives. Journaling through shadow work is so incredibly powerful because it allows you to unlock these deeper levels of understanding. So think about it this way. My first realization with that example was, okay, I actually am intelligent. I actually can do this. So, okay, now what made me let that shadow filter take me over to begin with? Okay, since I was a little kid, my father told me I was a mistake. He told me that, I wouldn't amount to anything, all of that. So boom, there's another door. Of course, when I went into this experience, I was already anxious. I was already nervous to read aloud because since I was a child, I had been letting all of that build inside me that I was a mistake, that I wasn't worth it, that I wouldn't amount to anything. And then this moment comes with the light shining on me and I go to read and boom, I fuck it up. And then this girl adds to that filter I already had about myself by making that comment. So each level of realizing the shadow unlocks a deeper root issue, a deeper root that needs attention. And once we're able to harness those roots and be clear on our aspects of self, yeah, I absolutely can do that. I have a sheet and stuff like that, so I can totally just send that and put that out there. Once we make those clarity visions and we allow ourselves to see those different levels that we built up on top of ourselves, we really can detach emotionally from the circumstances and learn their place in our aspects. So now also, whenever I'm about to do a live or go out there and do something, I think about my dad who told me I would never amount to anything. This girl that told me, oh, you're so dumb you can't read. I'm like, fuck you guys, first of all, because look at me right now. You know, look at what I'm achieving. Look at what I can do. And I use that as an empowerment aspect, okay? So when you first learn about shadow energies, you're like, oh shit, it's all this darkness inside myself that I've allowed to build up within me. And we can start to make ourselves feel bad about that. But the thing is, when you can step away and detach emotionally from those circumstances, from those memories, from those moments, you gain this understanding of yourself, and you can use that understanding to empower you. And that's why the shadow is who I am. It is something that I feel like I was groomed dealing with to put out there, because we all hold these aspects of ourselves. And right now, we're really moving into this collective area of shadow. So everything in society that we've been like, oh, you know, someone else will deal with it. Oh, you know, it's fine. We're doing this instead. Oh, times have changed. This is what's, you know, happening. All of those things that as a society and collective we push down, look at what's happening now. It's like the universe threw them up on us. No, you have to deal with the fact that you're not taking care of your citizens. No, we have to deal with the fact that we're not taking care of the earth. No, we have to deal with the fact that we treat some people in a lower class than other people, but when we're all really the same. You know, this whole thing that's happening is taking away classes, it's taking away nationalities, it's taking away races, and we are all on this even playing field. But as a whole, we are dealing with everything that we have pushed down as society. It's being thrown up at us, okay? And that's the same thing with our individual self, is anytime we go into a situation that triggers a shadow filter that we haven't, you know, learned to understand and express and find empowerment from, we're allowing those beliefs to resurface and that cycle to come about. So when you look at yourself and you look at your life, I'm sure you'll be able to find connection dots, okay, between every single bad circumstance, dark circumstance, shadow circumstance that has happened to you, and a lesson and attention that needs to be given, attention that needs to be learned, needs to be known. Because you yourself are whole and divinely correct. And it is everybody else's grime, opinion, and experience of you from their own personal problems and own personal standing within themselves that you begin to believe. And here is an example that you can relate to physical life, okay? So you have a mirror, okay, that you've kind of forgotten about, and you let the grime build up on it. You still see yourself, but you see yourself in skewed vision, okay, through a filter of grime, through all the experiences of washing your face, your kids brushing their teeth, dust building up, all outside circumstances building up over the way you see yourself. So you see yourself distorted. Now, what happens when you wipe away? You take your Windex, you take your cleansing element, you take your rag, and you wipe away all that grime. You see yourself for what you actually are without all the outside influence, okay? So shadow energy is so important. And even with that mirror example, we see how we can take control. We can commit to ourselves and, you know, go right at that raw feature and wipe it away. And it's all in our hands. And it comes between the choice of, do we want to keep living in other people's beliefs, or do we want to wipe away their grime and know that we have the control to get back to that divine balance center where we started? Okay, so there is this huge clash with light and dark. And the biggest thing is they're not any different. They are exactly the same. As above, so below. You cannot have one without the other, okay? And I know that sounds so simple, and it's like, oh, growth and spirituality is this huge thing. But it's not. What it is removing yourself from the emotional attachment and fear and filter that you've allowed to place there, that you've accepted about yourself, and seeing it from the most simplistic aspect, you know? Stepping away from all the added experience, stepping away from all the filtered grime that you've allowed to develop, and getting back to you. They're exactly the same, because once you realize that you have the power to transform that darkness in yourself into your ally to push you forward, you don't really see the bad in darkness anymore. Because without all those moments, without gaining all those aspects of self, you wouldn't be the powerful fucking person you are today, okay? Without the bad, you wouldn't be so fucking good, you know? And I think that is a huge takeaway from when we look at shadow energies is there's no difference in light and dark. There's an equal polarity and equal balance, and it all comes from detaching emotionally from other people's filters and allowing yourself to see clearly. So think about that mirror when you think about your life. Think about how that distortion is being put upon you, even though you didn't let that come about yourself, okay? First thing I would definitely do is dissect, look at your why. So if you have a moment and you get one of those flashback memories from your past, one of those shadow filter triggers, be like, okay, I recognize this. Why? Why is this cycle coming up? Why do I feel this way? Do I feel this way because I allowed myself to be in this place or because someone else manipulated my belief about myself? Okay? So just think about things in a simplistic form. Try to detach yourself emotionally from the circumstance and situations, because those emotions were only developed because of someone else's experience of you, not your experience of self. Realize there's no difference between light and dark. It's all your perspective, and one cannot exist without the other. All right, sorry. I get so fucking jazzed about shadow work because we all are like pushing for light, but really in our darkness, we find our most authentic truth and our most empowering moments. We're really able to see those superpowers that we're able to use to elevate our life into light, you know? So it's all connected. It's all one. It's all within you. And you don't need an outside source to find it. You have it. Just look in those areas that you've pushed away. Look at those memory flashbacks that come up when you're feeling a little uneasy. Those are going to hold your key. They're going to unlock levels to yourself, and you're going to be able to understand you. Once you understand yourself, you can understand the universe and the world. And one more thing I want to relate to this, just because I know so many people are in this area of really exploring their spirituality and moving forward with manifestation and all of this type of thing, is it doesn't matter how many times you say or write something. It all depends on your frequency and your blueprint, okay? So you might be able to be saying, writing, I'm going to make $3,000 a month 50 times a day. But in your mind, if you have one of those moments that brings you back to feeling less than, your subconscious mind doesn't forget that. It's imprinted into you. So if you haven't addressed that and you haven't brought attention to that field, that energy, that place of self, there's no way you can bring that about in the outside world, because internally you are not vibrating at the same frequency that you wish to receive. So again, it's all connected. There's no way out. You can only go through. Okay? And don't let that seem daunting, because once you start to unlock those doors and you're like, all right, I'm going to ally, round up my demons and use them to help push me forward, you're going to have a team like no other behind you. Because you know how they say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer? That's what you're doing. You are your own enemy. You are your own demons. And when you pull those all in and you build that relationship, unify and realize there's no difference, you have a mad fucking awesome army behind you that will fight for you, because it is you. Okay, little tangent, but I thought that was really great to put out there. So when we first start working with the shadow, what are some habits we can develop to soothe it, to build that internal communication within it, to respect it? I'm going to give you 9, okay? So the first is send gratitude to your shadow for the lessons it has presented you with. Anytime you feel one of those filters arising or those emotions arising or a memory arising, be sure to send gratitude to your energetic self, your subconscious self, and your physical self for bringing about those messages and those points within to allow you to see that part of you needs attention. So when we send gratitude to everyone we've always been, for those memories that are teaching us a lesson, for those moments that, you know, we felt lost, but here we are now. We send love and gratitude to our shadow. We open up that communicative flow of respect and unity within ourselves, and we don't sell short any aspect of who we are. Because like I said, You are dark and you're light. They coincide. There's no difference. And if you just show, you have to respect your darkness because it's a part of you. You were that person, okay? So send gratitude, send love to all those moments that you were allowed to see your shadow come to light. Build that respect and internal communication. So what I do when I'm laying in bed is if I ever had anything that made me feel less than, I had a shadow trigger or something like that, when I'm laying in bed, I'm like, thank you for showing me that lesson. Thank you for bringing that up so I can, dive deeper and rediscover more about myself. Because without that symbolism of shadow popping up in your life, you don't know what needs attention. So building that respect is key, okay? Another one. If you have a piece of selenite crystal, if you don't, I highly recommend you get it. If you do, use it, okay? Hold a selenite crystal above your crown chakra every night. This is going to clear away any fog and buildup so that you can really sense your own divine self coming through. That's next. Stretch. Stretching before bed is huge because any stagnant energy from that day, when you stretch, you move those energies around in your body and you allow them to flow within yourselves. And with flow comes release. So say you had a stressful day and you don't stretch before you go to bed, you're allowing those energies to solidify inside your body and you're waking up with them again. But if you had a stressful day and you stretch before you go to bed, you're flowing those energies around your body. You're allowing them to circulate, to be infused so that you can release them, okay? Leave your phone across the room when you sleep if possible, okay? Put it on Do Not Disturb. And this has been a huge, huge thing for me. So at about 10 o'clock, it's a little bit later for me because my husband doesn't get out of work till 10. So once he's home from work, I plug my phone in across the room, turn my hotspot on because I use it for Wi-Fi for our sleeping sounds and frequencies, put it across the room because once you get into that aspect of preparing for your night's rest, you want to get rid of that outside influence because you want to go to sleep as thoroughly what you believe as yourself, not with any added gunk from the outside world, okay? Forgive yourself each day for any part of you that went astray. So if you had a moment of overindulgence, if you had a moment of feeling less than, if you had a situation that led you to added stress or just, emotions that really weren't you, maybe something aggressive, anything like that where you overreacted or you weren't totally aligned, forgive yourself for those things each night. We are all human, okay? We are spirit, but we are also living on this physical plane where shit hits the fan. And you can't beat yourself down when things don't go exactly perfect because there is no perfect, okay? You are you and every single emotion you feel is valid and every single outburst, overexertion, stressor in your life has an underlying cause, a root cause that you can explore. So thank yourself and forgive yourself for those moments. Cleansing nightly ceremony. Get in the shower. Even if you don't shower fully or you don't want to get your hair wet, put it up in a ponytail, get in the shower and wash away, cleanse away the impurities of your day. Doing this is going to allow you to go to sleep without any of that on you anymore so you can wake up anew, wake up without that gunk. And one of the biggest things, so since I was a little kid, I've had this plaque on my wall and it says on it, finish each day and be done with it. You have done what you could. No doubt some absurdities may have crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day and you'll begin it well and sincerely. Okay? That is a great quote because that's what this cleansing ceremony will do for you every night. Wash away your impurities. When you're in the shower, just, even say to yourself, I cleanse myself of anything that I've picked up, anything that does not match my balance, anything I'm not aligned with. Tomorrow I will begin anew. And even if you're going to shower again in the morning, really getting into this habit because you're creating your own cleansing ritual. You're taking the power of yourself into play. You're the one that's committing and being like, you know what? I'm not taking any of this garbage with me tomorrow. I'm washing it all off. And visualization and, the act of doing something, even if it's just a mental thing or a spiritual thing, is going to infiltrate your day-to-day life. I highly recommend doing this. Okay. Now, another great thing, write a love letter to yourself as frequently as possible, maybe once a week, okay, at night, for everything you've accomplished. Even if you're not focusing on your present self, write a love letter to one of your past selves and just let them know that, hey, I appreciate you for everything that you did to get me to become this person today. Really putting into paper, writing out the words of what you love about everyone you've ever been, about who you are presently, is just going to amplify that experience for you of knowing that you're in control of what happens to you and what you're going to understand and what you want from this world. And I think the biggest one is start meditating to create your own sacred space. Your sacred space doesn't have to be a table with crystals on it. It doesn't have to be your yoga area. It doesn't have to be a place you drink tea and read books. Your sacred space can be created right in here. So when you're out and about, when you're having, chaotic nature with kids, if you're fighting with your significant other, if you're dealing with something at work, you can take a minute and breathe into that sacred space. Just create your castle inside yourself. I'll tell you, my sacred space in my head is the living room and kitchen I wish to manifest in my life, to bring about. Overlooks the lake, light hardwood floors, heather gray accents, so whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, I bring myself to that place inside my mind, because you are your own sacred shell. Your body is your soul's home. And creating that space that you can go in within yourself without outside influence, without any materialistic nature needing to fill a void, and just knowing it's all you, is absolutely wonderful. All right. I'm so, so grateful I got this video to work, and I'm so grateful you all took the opportunity to join me. It's been an absolute pleasure, especially during this time. One thing I want to leave you with is, if you're out and about in society, or you're getting overwhelmed by what you're seeing on Facebook, or just in general about, what may come up in your life due to this, breathe into those feelings. Know that you are not alone, and it's happening to everyone. 2020 in the celestial energies and everything like that, but when we entered into this, everything about 2020, whether we're ready or not, is pushing us to view these open wounds and to experience our shadows, so we can all re-emerge and rebirth into a higher frequency. So this time may seem scary, but use it to your advantage. Use it to dig deep. Use it to recognize those trigger filters within yourself. Use it to get to know your darkness. Because like I said, within your darkness holds your superpowers. It holds your most authentic truth and your most empowering aspects of being. Again, thank you so, so much for having me. I'll get some prompts and graphics to you guys as well, a little bit about the shadow. Have a great day.